gentlemen, your next bout of the evening to be fought over 5 3-minute rounds for the vacant FCC Amateur Middleweight Championship. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he enters the cage with a mixed martial art record of 3 victories and 2 defeats, representing MMA Academy, Liverpool, Mealand. And his opponent standing across the cage, fighting out of the blue corner, he enters the cage with a mixed martial arts record of 5 victories and no defeats, representing Apex MMA Jenaid Ebanks. Your referee in charge of the action, Mr. Dean Weir.
This title fight is brought to you by Animosity. Unleash your animosity. Visit them at www.animosityfightgear.co.uk.
It's our first title fight of the evening here at FCC 16. Amateur middleweight title on the line. Jenaid Ebanks in the black with red trim taking on Graham Mealand in the black with grey and white trim.
We've got to say, Ebanks is looking big coming into this.
Well, we saw Jenaid Ebanks on the way to the arena today, Jez. He said he's weighing around 202 pounds at this point. Of course, weighed in at 185 on the button yesterday, so nearly 20 pounds put on, which really is a phenomenal amount for an amateur middleweight. And let's see if that size and weight assists him at all here against Graham Mealand. Both these men coming out of well-respected gyms. Of course, Mealand fighting out of Liverpool's MMA Academy. They've recently partnered up with the SPG network of gyms. Jenaid Ebanks fighting out of Apex MMA. 5-0 undefeated as an amateur is Jenaid Ebanks. Perfect record so far. Mealand 3 wins, 2 losses. So a similar amount of experience for both men.
And both men being very, very patient here at these early stages. Obviously, this being a tight fight, we've got 5 rounds. So they don't want to go out and gas early on because they're going to be in for a war tonight.
Absolutely, it's a perfect way to transition through to the pro ranks. You've got 5 3-minute rounds, so 15 minutes of fighting, exactly what these guys are going to have to be dealing with when they do make the transition to pro.
So it's all about tactics and all about patience, but when you make that commitment, you got to go for it, and this is what we're seeing now from Ebanks. He's got his man right up against the cage, and we'll see whether or not he can get him to the ground. He's got one arm locked up, he's trying to search for that single.
Just trying to disrupt the base here. Nice knee up the side though from Graham Mealand. Mealand now asserting his dominance, forcing Jenaid Ebanks back onto the cage. Bit of a stalemate thus far. Mealand trying to work some knees, but Ebanks immediately raising his own leg to block those strikes. Nice takedown there from Graham Mealand, but a great reversal and another turnabout's fair play. Graham Mealand ends up in the closed guard of Jenaid Ebanks.
Yeah, no, a great switch of the hips to take his opponent and get the dominant position. He's now sat in this guard. He's waiting patiently, just sussing things out at this early stage, but just where Mealand really wants to be.
Well, let's see what Ebanks looks to work here. He's opened the guard. Is he going to be trying to look for a triangle, perhaps, maybe an arm bar, or perhaps a sweep? He's going to have to be careful, though, with that open guard. He's giving Graham Mealand a bit of room to maneuver. Mealand looking to bomb some big shots in, passes into side control. Jenaid Ebanks talking to the referee there, not entirely sure what he was saying, but nonetheless, I believe Jenaid Ebanks was saying there was an accidental headbutt there. He indicated as the break happened that there was perhaps a clash of heads, or I believe it was a head to the jaw. But both probably accidental, yeah. You'd have to say there, Jez.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you look, first round, both fighters are slightly hesitant. They don't want to overcommit. They're being patient. They've both got a good level of experience coming into this, and they recognise that one simple mistake could signal the end to this, so they're waiting for the right opportunity. An interesting exchange on the feet, and then about both on the ground.
Well, we saw Graham Mealand.
Not in it, really.
Absolutely not, Jez. We saw Graham Mealand initiate that takedown, got reversed, then was able to effect a reversal himself, so essentially ended up where he wanted to be, but things looking very even in both phases of this fight, and it's going to be interesting to see how that big weight cut and weight gain affects Jenaid Ebanks as this fight wears on. Of course, he might be the slightly bigger man, he might be slightly stronger, slightly heavier. What's his cardio going to be like with that big weight cut? Second of 5 3-minute rounds if they need them. Brad 48 Wharton and Iron Jez Cook calling the action for you. FCC 16 here at the Bolton Macron Stadium. Nothing confirmed as of yet, but put a tentative date in your diary for early October for FCC 17. Lots of big fights already in the planning stages for our next contest here at Full Contact Contender.
And you can see that Mealand's taking quite a lot of confidence from that first round, and he's really settling into a rhythm here, isn't he, Brad?
Absolutely. Nice body kick snapped off, didn't quite get the extension on it. Mealand keeping his man honest with a few nice low kicks of his own.
But nice control so far by Mealand. He really is dictating the position in the cage. Ebanks wants to pressure.
Lots of feints here, a nice combination from Jenaid Ebanks. Gets taken down for his troubles. Didn't really land anything too clean.
No, and I don't think this is exactly where he wanted to fight. I think he wanted to try and assert some dominance on the feet. But look, both these guys, they're in for an opportunity to win this title, so they've got to have a good all-round game, and we're seeing that right now.
Great power reversal there from Jenaid Ebanks. Flipped himself right over the top. And let's see what Ebanks can do from side control. Of course, amateur rules in effect here, Jez, so the elbows would be a great weapon, but unfortunately they are outlawed under the unified amateur rule set. Look to throw his legs over there, perhaps looking for a very tricky to get inverted triangle. Finds himself back inside control, does Jenaid Ebanks. Got to be careful of the arm. Mealand perhaps looking to lock up a Kimura here.
Yeah, he's searching for it, isn't it? But
reversal though from Ebanks, and Graham Mealand looking to get top position now. He's got that arm locked up. He can switch for a straight armbar here. He's going to try and crank the Kimura over the top though, Jez.
Yeah, and Mealand really is very crafty, isn't he?
He's got one arm pinned down. Looking to rip that Kimura over the top, gets it, but Ebanks spins out.
Oh, this is a lovely transition between these two guys.
Ebanks with a Kimura of his own now. Jenaid Ebanks looking to crank that submission hold, Jez.
He's trying to get into side control to really press and get that control. Mealand's got that leg, and that's preventing Ebanks from really applying a lot of pressure here and getting that position.
Mealand needs to keep his back flat to the mat here. Final few seconds of the round, and it looks like Mealand will survive, Jez.
So what a great exchange back and forth between these two fighters, both in dominant and then
transitions are plenty.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice to see that level of kind of jiu-jitsu at this amateur level, but you do kind of expect it. We're up into title fights here now, and yeah, what a great exchange from those guys in that second round.
Well, very high level of amateur fighters in the country at the moment, and these two guys are really, really indicative of that. We've seen some phenomenal technique on display from both Jenaid Ebanks and Graham Mealand. And Jez, with all the excitement and the transitions and reversals, didn't really have time to think about who was picking up the points in that contest. It really could be anyone's game, but of course, regardless of who won the first two rounds, we've still got 3 more to go. We're about to enter the third round here. We've got the championship rounds too if they need them, so plenty more can be done. If one fighter can pull ahead in the final 3 frames, he's going to take the fight, and of course, judging by how things have gone so far, plenty of potential for a finish here.
Well, we'll wait with anticipation. By the looks of things in the second, Ebanks was keen to keep it on the feet. He wanted to trade. I think Ebanks feels that he can assert some dominance if it remains on the feet. but certainly on the ground, it's very equally poised, isn't it?
A Superman punch there from Jenaid Ebanks, a great sprawl to stop the takedown. And let's see what Ebanks does here, Jez. Is he going to perhaps try and jump off, or is he going to lock up a choke here? Try and spin to the back. Plenty of options for Jenaid Ebanks, and this might tell us how he wants to play this contest. He's looking to perhaps roll his man onto his back, and it looks like Jenaid Ebanks is content to play this one out on the ground.
But Mealand obviously confident. He's got the butterfly guard in, so he's not really in any kind of threat here. He'll just wait. He's wrapping that arm in, closing the gap, not giving Ebanks any room. He's raising that, looking for that rubber guard. Wasn't successful. And Ebanks now is into that half guard. He wants to pull that knee through, establish side control. And then he's got a lot of options, but it's close up on the cage, and so it makes it difficult. But he's going to try and soften up his opponent here, Brad.
We see UFC veteran Jason Tan in the corner of Graham Mealand, barking instructions along with the rest of the guys from the MMA Academy Liverpool. Regulars here at Full Contact Contender are the MMA Academy. Nice punches in close there from Jenaid Ebanks. Looking to take the back perhaps here, Jez. It's going to be difficult for him to get the hooks in with Graham Mealand pressed up against the cage like that.
Yeah, and he's turtled up. He's not giving him a lot of room to get that first hook in, is he? Mealand really trying to get that wrist control, trying to pull that arm out and getting that space.
Nice knee to the body there from Jenaid Ebanks. Very, very underutilised technique.
But he's fighting smart, isn't he, Ebanks, at the moment? He's being patient. He's waiting for the opportunity.
Well, he's making his man carry that weight. He's going to pick him up and suplex him. Big slam there from Jenaid Ebanks. That's one for the highlight reel for sure.
Oh, and he gets a great roar from the crowd, showing their appreciation here for that technique.
He's got to watch the arm though. He looks like he'll be able to pull that out now. Just needs to get the elbow past that point of no return. Very, very difficult for Mealand to nab a submission here, especially with all the weight of Jenaid Ebanks pressing on him. And we've seen Ebanks use his weight to great effect here. He's making Mealand carry him. Very, very exhausting as we move towards the end of the third round. Oh, going for a wishbone here. That's not something you see every day, especially in amateur MMA. Wishbone leg splitter. Essentially a groin stretch. Very, very unpleasant submission attempt there from Jenaid Ebanks. End of the third round, and Jez is looking very much like the man from Apex MMA is pulling ahead here.
Yeah, he's asserting his control on this fight on the ground, but I still feel that he has something to offer in a stand-up exchange, because Mealand is quite comfortable seeing it on the ground. So I am interested to see if it stood up, what will happen, how will this play out?
Well, this is where we get to the interesting phase of the evening, Jez, because we're about to separate the men from the boys, or at the very least, the champion from the challenger. We enter the championship rounds. New territory for both these men, as far as I'm aware. Neither of them have fought more than 3 before in their amateur careers, and now it becomes perhaps a battle of attrition just as much as it is a battle of skill and will.
And like we said before, both guys are coming out of great gyms, so the preparation for this fight will be very well matched. But it's about that ability to be calm and collected, not get too phased when you're short of breath, because these guys will be tired, and that will potentially lead to that one moment, that one wrong decision that leads to a victory. We'll certainly find out soon enough as we go into this fourth round.
Championship rounds underway. Jenaid Ebanks, Graham Mealand, both vying to become the FCC amateur middleweight champion. Ebanks opening up with a kick, as he has done repeatedly throughout this fight. Both men still looking fairly fresh, Jez.
Absolutely, well conditioned. Obviously, a huge amount of preparation in the fight camp coming into this title fight.
Again, another leg kick to the inner thigh, just keeping his man honest there.
Ebanks showing that level of patience that we thought he might. He looks to be the more comfortable in the striking exchange. However, Mealand's not rushing for any kind of takedown. He's looking to exchange here.
And you have to think that the corner over in Mealand's corner was saying to him, you know, you are perhaps down on the scorecards now. You need to go and really put your stamp on the championship round. You need to go and assert yourself here. Big looping right hook there from Mealand. Didn't land flush, but hopefully an indication of things to come.
Yeah, but I think more importantly, he's got his opponent where he wants him. Kind of opened up. He's got him against the cage. He's now going to look for that takedown where we felt he's more comfortable. But he does need to potentially score well in this round, because personally I see it as Ebanks being up. So Mealand really needs to assert some dominance, get some control, and that's what he's looking to do. Establish a side control. He's got that potential wrist control.
Well, Jez, we talked about Jenaid Ebanks using that extra weight, that extra strength to great effect earlier on in this fight, but as the fight goes on, all those big muscles, that lactic acid build-up, this could potentially be something that works against him. It's be interesting to see now if Mealand really goes for it in the grappling phase. He's going to have to defend this submission attempt, though. Kimura from Jenaid Ebanks. He uses it to sweep into the top position.
Lovely technique there to establish a dominant position. Being patient, softening up the body, waiting for the right opportunity to apply pressure once again to Mealand's wrist.
Tried to sweep there, did Graham Mealand, but Jenaid Ebanks able to step over into mount very, very low, keeping his chest on the face. Arm triangle possibility here if Mealand isn't careful. Again, a very, very difficult submission to lock up from this position. He's just locking his man down now. Jenaid Ebanks on the bottom of guard. Let's see what he can work here.
Well, obviously it becomes...
Seen the right leg go up. Jesse could perhaps look to throw it over the head. Triangle choke potentially coming. Final 10 seconds of the round. It looks like time could be the enemy here. Jenaid Ebanks looks to snap the armbar on. This is close, but the round is over. And Graham Mealand looked comfortable. He knew how long was left on the clock, but perhaps just saved by the bell from the man from the MMA Academy.
Yeah, well, he was lucky there because that elbow was deep and you felt another few seconds on the clock, and that could have been it. That could have been over. Look, we're now on to the 5th and final round, and look, Mealand's going to have to come out and produce something special, because so far everything he's thrown at Ebanks has had a response. And yeah, it's a really tricky scenario at the moment.
Well, it's been a close fight so far, Jez. Personally, I'm leaning slightly towards Jenaid Ebanks.
Well, you have to,
3 rounds to 1 thus far. I'm not a judge, though. Luckily, we've got some of the best in the game here at FCC to do that for us. Dan Hall, Ben Cartledge and Dave Leatherby on the scorecards this evening. Some top-level UFC experience all around the globe between these men, amongst, of course, other shows here in the UK and Europe.
Well, we've got 3 minutes here if they need it. But one thing for certain, we're going to have a new FCC middleweight champion.
Graham Mealand, Jenaid Ebanks, 5th and final round for the spoils. The big gold belt at stake. And it's Ebanks opening up again with those light leg kicks, looking to get into his rhythm.
Just both look so relaxed, don't they, even in this 5th round. Not phased at all. Both look fairly fresh, happy to exchange. It's Ebanks throwing those low leg kicks at this point.
Personally, I'd like to see a little bit more in the way of urgency. As we said, Jez, perhaps Jenaid Ebanks ahead on the scorecard, but far from a foregone conclusion. Both these men have just a couple of minutes to take it out of the judges' hands. I'm sure that's the way they'd like to play this one. Big body kick there from Jenaid Ebanks, scoring well on the feet in this final round. Mealand, though, charging in, looking for a takedown.
And this is where I think Ebanks potentially could have asserted even more dominance earlier on, because I think he's got the upper hand where it is, but Mealand recognises that. He's got Ebanks up against the cage, but he has to get this down to the ground where he's most comfortable, and he has to try and get a finish, because if he doesn't get a finish, I don't see him securing a victory by seeing the round out. I just can't see it, Brad. So he really needs to up the ante.
Completely agree with you there, Jez, and it looks like there is perhaps a bit of a sense of urgency from Graham Mealand now. He's chasing a takedown, but really struggling with the big muscular frame of Jenaid Ebanks.
So
physical
wearing.
specimen, pretty much weighing in as a light heavyweight on fight night.
But it's so wearing against the cage, and this far into the fight, it takes so much energy to get your opponent down. So, you know, there's no surprise really why Mealand's struggling. Like you said, such a big opponent, such strength and conditioning from Ebanks. He looks fairly happy to try and weather this out.
Referee Dean Ware calls for a break in the action. Nothing happening there, nobody advancing position. Jumping on the guillotine here is Jenaid Ebanks. This looks tight, Jez. Guillotine from the man, and it's all over! Jenaid Ebanks with the submission in the 5th and final round. He is your new FCC Amateur Middleweight Champion. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and you got to be pleased for him. He really did deserve it. There was one round that I think Mealand asserted some authority, but ultimately Ebanks controlled the fight. He was the superior on his feet. He was the superior on the ground. And yeah, what can you say?
Jez,
a worthy victor.
Absolutely, Jez. We talked about one man perhaps taking it out of the judges' hands, and how easy would it have been for Jenaid Ebanks to sit on top there, cruise to a decision. Instead, he took the risk. He looked in the guillotine, and he picked up a phenomenal submission, and with it, the FCC Amateur Middleweight title.
Fighters to center, please. Fighters to center, please. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for our two fantastic warriors this evening. And at a time of 2 minutes, 25 seconds of the 5th round, your winner by guillotine in the blue corner, Jenaid Ebanks. And let's hear it for his opponent this evening. Let's hear it for Graham Mealand.
Mate, don't be like that, mate, honestly.
So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a very short break. We ask you to come up along and check out